Good morning, dear colleagues. We're starting our joint press briefing by the head of the Security Service of Ukraine and acting head of the EUAM, Ms. Joel Wachter. Today we are presenting our first annual report of the Security Service of Ukraine, made in line with the European practices, where a great contribution has been made by the European Advisory Mission. I think more detailed information will be given by our guests. Thank you. Good morning, dear journalists, dear colleagues, dear participants, dear representatives of media. Welcome at this presentation of our first printed annual report of the Security Service of Ukraine, prepared in line with the European standard, with technical assistance from the European Union Advisory Mission on the civilian security sector reform. I am strongly convinced that one of the major tasks for the Security Service of Ukraine is to transform the Security Service of Ukraine into a dynamic, specialized agency of a European standard to resist to the aggressor and simultaneously to transform the service is a big challenge for us. It will be almost 3 years when the war started with the Russian aggressor, and there is an extremely important and difficult task to transform the Security Service of Ukraine into a powerful, harmonious, and efficient special service with special tasks. In the course of reform, we are very grateful for the advisory support to the European Union Advisory Mission in Ukraine, which has helped us to make a great job by delivering 30 joint meetings in 2016. The result of our joint work has been the draft concept on the reform of the Security Service of Ukraine that has passed through all the approval procedures, and hopefully this draft concept will be signed by the President of Ukraine. One of the key indicators of the Security Service reform is the introduction of the policy of transparency and increased trust from the public towards the Security Service of Ukraine. In fact, being conscious of this need to transform the security service of our Ukrainian security service into the European standard agency, we understand how important it is to preserve the balance, which means that we are supposed to become transparent, to communicate and interact with the public, and at the same time it's very important not to lose efficiency, not to become weaker than we are now. And maintenance of this balance is one of the key goals, or one of the most important aspects in the preparation of this document and the reform of the Security Service of Ukraine. Dear colleagues, dear participants, we are pleased to present you this unique publication, prepared first in the history of the Security Service of Ukraine over its 25 years of operation. We've prepared this publication in close cooperation with the European Union Advisory Mission, and similar publications are made by all the advanced security services of the EU member states. And on the eve of the 25th anniversary of the Security Service, we made an attempt to tell to all the citizens of Ukraine about the Security Service and its work. We attempted to avoid our special terminology as much as possible. We address potential target audience and potential readers with comprehensible language. We tell about peculiarities of security service, its tasks and priorities, what are the achievements against these priorities. And in fact, sometimes we're not in position to disclose all the information related to our achievements, but I will be sincere with you that information on the major achievements of the Security Service for the latest 3 years, when we have war in the east of the country, the Security Service has made a big piece of work and has good results. But unfortunately, some of them cannot be disclosed and declassified. But believe me, today the Security Service is a really active agency countering agency, and many advanced European services approach us for experience sharing, specifically in resisting to hybrid war. And we all realize that this is a serious problem not only for Ukraine today, but for many countries of the world. And primarily this concerns the European part of the universe. At the same time, we touched upon such a topic as the work of the security service with some unofficial sources of information. And firstly, in the history of the security service, we say that really we have pool of agents, secret agents. In the past, KGB refused to disclose this information about a pool of secret agents, but believe me, many people that cooperate with us, these are our operational sources who are ready to be involved in the intelligence activities, risking their lives. And it is they who interfere into crime groups, who disclose and open up some crime, organized crime, and risk their lives for the security of the state. And it's the first time that we openly discuss this in public. We are part of Ukrainian people, and we understand, we realize that united we stand. And it's important to maintain the balance of our openness and things that we cannot disclose to the public because the consequences could be just revenge to those people who are involved in our activities, both from the pool of our agents and from other operational staff of our security service. I'm convinced that in close cooperation with the public and thanks to the support from the European Union, thanks to the well-established work jointly with the EUAM, we'll be able to transform the security service of Ukraine into an efficient agency of a European standard. In addition to that, our security service is definitely occupies a distinguished place in the system of the security agencies of the state and civilian security sector. I would like again to express gratitude to the European Union Advisory Mission in Ukraine, Ms. Wachter, and I would like to thank all the team members of the mission who helped us in the preparation of this report and in the reform efforts of the security service of Ukraine. Thank you. Ms. Wachter, if you want, please, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Is it okay? Thank you for coming. First of all, congratulations on your 25th anniversary of SSU. The past quarter century has seen many challenging moments. Now the key task of the reforms is to ensure that the SSU is well equipped to face the challenges of the present and future, to provide security for the people of Ukraine. EU Advisory Mission is here to support you with strategic advice and expertise of all European member states. We are also happy to provide the trainings and technical assistance for the SSU in order to enhance the effectiveness of the agency and build capability. The annual report presented today is one of the good examples of our cooperation. It is an extensive and groundbreaking document drafted in compliance with European practices, and this for the first time. The practice of issuing an annual overview of security service activities exists in many EU member states. While exact details on operations are confidential for good reasons, as you just rightly mentioned, it is important for citizens in a democracy to be provided with information on the activities being carried out in their name. I hope that this annual report of the SSU will serve as a good example for other Ukrainian public institutions. The key word for this exercise is trust. No public institution can be effective if it doesn't enjoy public trust. This is why the motto of the EU advisory mission is advising for trust, because we know trust is a key element of an agency's success, and this is a core principle in public administration in EU countries. The time when the activities of security services were out of question is over. People demand changes, and excuses not to proceed with reforms are not acceptable anymore. The country's leaders should continue to demonstrate an appetite for reforms, and this should be maintained in order to make reforms irreversible. The engine of the process is relations with citizens that are built on trust and accountability. Public dialogue and an open approach ensures that the public understands the role of a security service. It is crucial for crime prevention efforts of the agency. We support SSU in strong crime prevention messages presented in the report and hope that the agency will play a key role in crime prevention in Ukraine, while it transfers its crime investigation competencies to other institutions in line with best practices. The EU wants to see SSU as a trusted partner in the European Security Service network. It requires adherence to the human rights principles in the agency and combating corruption. In the annual report, SSU declares the priority of human rights in its activity, and we welcome that. Indeed, EUAM has assisted the SSU with developing a human rights training program, which we hope will be a core part of the SSU training activities for all the staff. The SSU shares its special intelligence ways to gather information, while stressing on the strict adherence to specific legislation provisions, while using intrusive measures. This is another good example of European best practices taken into account by SSU. Besides that, public received an access to some declassified documents in the report, especially the ones related to Chernobyl nuclear station tragedy. It is also an excellent example of transparency practice and accountability. I want to highlight that besides the new content and design, the SSU annual report is now available in English, and again, this is for the first time. We are looking forward to extending our cooperation with SSU, providing strategic advice, training, and technical support. Our mission will remain a reliable partner for the agency, providing assistance for the success of reform. A couple of minutes ago, somebody told me we are now, between EUAM and SSU, above the working relations. Now we went into friendship relation. This is also a great achievement we are very proud of. Thank you very much.
Шановні журналісти, у зв'язку з дуже щільним графіком.
Dear journalists, due to the very tight schedule of the head of the security service, we only have time only for one or two questions. Ukrinform, you told us that one of the key achievements in your work is identification of subversion groups. In this context, are there any data that there was this explosion in the military ammunition storages? Do you have any update on this information? Thank you for your question. To date, the work of the investigative group continues. According to preliminary conclusions by the head of this investigative group, so the first version is in deliberate activities by some subversive groups. A criminal proceeding has been initiated under Article 113, which is subversion. We're taking respective measures, and we've identified some witnesses who saw how this storages from some aircraft, some explosive means were thrown onto these military bases. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose some more information at this point because the investigation continues. Dear Mr. Head of the Security Service, it's not the first time that we have such terroristic attacks with the application of such tools and practices, and it's really serious, and will the respective measures be taken? Believe me, we're also very serious about that, and more than that, you know that similar situations happened in the past at the same military storage site. I want to inform you that in February of the current year, we received information on the same military storage site when there were some drawbacks identified which are related to security and protection of this facility. It should be said that the management, the leadership of this arsenal, responded quite promptly to those identified drawbacks, and in a course of a week they reported on the measures that were taken. They didn't ignore anything, and they took a number of measures to enhance the security of this storage site. At the same time, what we have today, this aviation means, pilotless aviation means, not every system can record or identify some aviation of drones, and sometimes drones can be used from a distance of up to 45 kilometers with some destructive or explosive means. The question is, are there really many tools or means to resist this? Unfortunately, currently we are insufficiently provided with such special technical means, and the leadership knows about these gaps. We do what we can as much as we can, and believe me, we recruit additional human resources, other resources and equipment to enhance the security of such facilities. Unfortunately, we cannot influence everything. Dear journalists, please, the last question and latest events. 40 minutes ago, there were some shootings near the Premier Palace, and can you please comment on that? I just can tell you that I don't have any information that this was some kind of special operation. At least the Security Service of Ukraine was not making such an operation. Really, there were some victims near this palace and some wounded as well, and currently the special services are working on the site. Dear journalists, if you have some more questions to Ms. Wachter, she is ready to answer your questions, but the head of SSU needs to leave now. Dear Ms. Wachter, I apologize terribly, but I need to leave now. Thank you very much for your work and for your support. Dear colleagues, if you have questions to Ms. Wachter, please, you're welcome. If there are no any questions, thank you for your time, for your attention, and hope for the next meeting. Goodbye.
Ваше обладнання, пристрої
Yes?
для перекладу.